Bears country. Where is it? It's in your man cave. Your home. Your car. Your local bar. Your city. State. It's across the world. It's in your heart. And it's here. The Bears Country Podcast.
Welcome to Bears Country Podcast. We're in a kind of a weird situation here with the midweek. We have a game tomorrow against the Commanders. So we're going to take a little moment here to kind of just wrap up our thoughts about the loss to the Vikings. As unfortunate as that was, there was some good to take out of it, I think. And move forward to the Commanders game tomorrow night. And what can we expect from this matchup? I personally think that the Bears are going to win this. But this show is the Lowdown with Lynn Hayden. So let's bring her on and see what she has to say about last week's game and the game coming up. Lynn Hayden, the Lowdown with Lynn Hayden. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
You forgot that I shortened this for you.
I did. You almost got me. I was like, oh, I got a second to do that. You got me, you stinker.
Yeah, the other one was a little bit too long, so I had to kind of like.
That's, you don't want to scare people, okay, Dan? Come on now.
So, how are you doing today, Lynn?
I'm doing better. I'm doing good. I'm hanging in, excited about tomorrow night for sure, So
Yeah,
it is weird having a show. I did my show today because I usually do one on Monday and Friday, and I was so confused. I had such a hard time. I'm like, I think it's because we're on a Wednesday. I'm not used to that,
I know. I was talking to someone today, and I completely forgot that the game was tomorrow. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, because I was trying to make plans for something on the show for tomorrow. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's a game tomorrow.
Yeah, right. We're going to be on TV tomorrow. Yeah. So if we're having a hard time, you can imagine how the Bears are faring, So
yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Got to be a tough week, but
So how are you getting over this loss? I mean, what are your overall feelings about it? I know,
like everyone else, that game was what started out I was losing my mind that first quarter. I mean, first of all, they get the first offensive drive, they get a penalty right out of the gate. I mean, and I hate penalties. I mean, that's one of my bugaboos. I watch so much football, and you see how many times it stops drives or gives momentum to the other team. So I was losing my mind, and I was just like, boy, they're worse than I thought they were in the beginning there. I really, really thought that. I thought I bought in. I drank the Kool-Aid and everything, and I was mad at myself. But then, as we all stick around because we're Bears fans, you don't turn it off. And by mid-second quarter, all of a sudden, we got life. When Mr. Mooney, number 11, caught that pass, I believe it changed the whole momentum of the game. It was a pretty good pass. It was a little off, but he with one freaking hand, man, and he brought it in. And it was, to me, I thought, whoa. And then, boom, we get a touchdown a couple plays later. Montgomery goes in, and you could just feel the tide turning. And I thought to myself, oh, my, wait a minute. Now it's 10-21, and then when they came out the second half, and then we all know their second half team. So you're thinking, okay, and then they came out, and it was for a few problems we had here and there. We know what they are. The penalty that called back the touchdown by Justin, number 17.
Amir Smith-Marset. Yep.
Yeah, who also fumbled the ball at the end of the game. But there were so many positives in that second half. I mean, you could see Justin Fields just relaxed out there. He seemed like he had slowed down the game in his mind. It wasn't as fast that those other previous games were going in his head, because you could just see the last 3 games, it was spinning out of control. He calmed down. I don't know if they gave him a Xanax or what at halftime, but whatever it was, it worked. Maybe he had a shot of tequila. I don't know, but he made some plays, and the only obviously was most disappointing is you had the defense just playing their hearts out, even though they were giving up the run terribly right and left. But and then they just gave that last touchdown. It was like, oh man! But you can only expect so much out of them, And but I wish the run would have gotten going a little bit. But there was a lot of positives. So as pissed as I was in the first 30 minutes, the second 30 minutes completely different. So, and you
I felt the same thing. The beginning of the game was just like, what the hell is going on? They were running my favorite play in the game Madden, the football game Madden. You got 2 guys going out, and then they go to the out routes, to the sidelines, and you got 2 guys like cutting in, maybe one guy cutting in, going deep or something, but it gives you that out route open on either the left or right, and they were just going left, right, left, right, left, right, just
exactly.
Kirk Cousins, like you were saying on your show, like once he don't let him get going. I forget the word you use. I laughed when you said it. It was high noon Kirk is someone that I fear.
Yes.
Primetime Kirk is someone that I'm not that scared of. And
but he was balling it on Sunday. I mean,
high noon.
He went 17 for 70. Yeah. And that's what you had to be afraid of. And he came to play, but then we stopped him in the second half. But the Bears just didn't have enough. But still, it wasn't for 17. I think we would have had a chance to go ahead and gone ahead at that point. But whatever. It is what it is.
I wish they would have gotten the running game more established, but you know what? I am happy with them. I've kind of talked about this from day one, that I was really happy with the rushing game being what it was in the first couple of games, and even against the Packers, it was pretty good. I thought that their strategy, and we kind of talked about this before, was that they were just trying to really get that run established so that then they could ease the passing game into Justin and kind of let it come to him.
Yep.
And it feels like they tried to force it a little too much last week. And then this week, it feels like it just was coming to him a little bit more. The running game wasn't there, but the passing game was starting to come to him. And he was starting to, when Justin stands in the pocket and he has a pocket around him, I have a play right here. We can talk over it. No, actually, we can't talk over it. But I'll show that in a second. This play I'm about to show you, like when Justin is in the pocket and you give him time to throw the ball, these are the kinds of things that happen.
Speaking to Montgomery. Fields. Good touch pass, and it is equity.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
I mean, and the metrics are there when he's standing when he gets a pocket to throw in, he's like one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. And when he doesn't, of course he's not. Who is?
No, he's not experienced enough yet, anyways, to really. He's still learning and stuff. But that's what we went and got him for. Those passes, he can complete them with ease. So it did.
He's got a real nice deep ball.
Oh, he does, and you're right. And it was sad because out of the Justin, Herbert, and Montgomery, they didn't break 100 yards at all. On Sunday. No, we did not. People don't realize that, but it was like, oh man. So it wasn't pretty. And it was the thing is, but he did do one thing, the OC, where he actually threw to, was that last week on Sunday? Yeah. Where he threw to Montgomery and he went out and got like 20 yards. Was that last week?
I think they all blend together, don't they? I think you're thinking about it was the last game. Yeah.
Yeah, whistle. I said, and I've been begging for that, and he did it, and then he didn't do it really again. And I thought,
Mhm.
if you can't get the run going, then let's do this because it's only going to help Justin out.
And the run was here. We got the stats here. Montgomery 12 carries for 20 yards, 1 touchdown. Khalil Herbert 4 for 11. Dalvin Cook still hasn't busted the 100-yard mark yet this season. I'm glad we held him to under 100 with 2 touchdowns.
But yeah, the run, was the only. This was the first game that the run did not, because we're 5th in the league on runs because we average 157 yards a game right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about Washington. We'll leave that alone. But so yeah, we got the running game, so we got to get that back going again. And that was one thing that they kind of got away from on Minnesota, where they haven't in the other previous games. They stuck with the run, and they kind of didn't. But what's his name? The OC, he's still too damn vanilla for me. He just is. But you see where he got Montgomery involved. See, so he had 62 yards, and I liked it. And he can catch, so let's use him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gives you.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you just throw him a 5, 6, 7, 8 yard pass. He ended up getting like 20, 25 yards out of it. It was like
he got 30 yards out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his long.
Right. Yeah, it was a nice run, and I thought, let's keep doing that. Do what's working, and then you can work all the other stuff back into the game. But you got to get Justin and the team, the offense, in a rhythm. We haven't really, and that's what happened last week, in my opinion. The second half, we started to actually get a rhythm, which I have not seen this year. And
look at the difference between the two. This kind of goes to your rhythm thing. Is look at the amount of catches here. There's a total of 4, 5, 6. There's 8, 12, 13, 15 total.
Oh yeah, these guys down here, yeah.
And then you look at the Vikings and look at how many catches and look how much they spread the ball around.
Yep.
I mean, the Bears need to start spreading the ball around to more receivers.
Jefferson is just awesome. I mean, that guy.
Yeah, my God.
Him and last week, it was just unbelievable how that guy was not dropping anything. I mean, but no, I agree with you. They do, but they don't really have the talent. I think that's part of the problem with the Bears. So they're doing what they can, but we'll see what happens. We're going to talk about Washington in a minute. But there was, we had the turnover. We had the interception, which was awesome. But the only bad thing about that is the Bears got the ball. They went 3 and out. That was one of their few 3 and outs. People don't realize it, but it was the interception. And you're like,
of course. I know.
You finally get a damn interception and you go 3 and out. Oh my God. But we got a sack, but I'd like to see more sacks this coming week. But Justin, those 208 doesn't seem like a lot compared to some of the other teams, but for him, that's huge.
It's only 15 completed passes too, so it's not bad for it. The 118 rating is pretty good, and the sacks were down 2 for 15.
I know that was huge. Just 2.
I wish we would have gotten to Kirk more. 1 for 7, but
we got there a couple times, but boy, he just got him off. I mean, Quinn was around this week, and he was close many, many times. So I'm hoping tomorrow night. We're going to talk about that, but they don't have a good line, Washington. So let's hope that.
Here's what pisses me off: Justin Fields 8 rushes for 47 yards.
Yep.
Like there was like a 65-yarder that I think that block in the back was bullshit call. It was more of a block in the side, and the guy
was a bullshit call. It really was, and actually, the commentators made a comment about that one too. They were like, "Was that really a block in the back?" I mean, but it is. But we're the Bears, and we don't get the calls like Green Bay's and Tampa Bay's do, and but it was regardless.
He would have had 120 something yards rushing if they would have.
And if they gotten that touchdown opposed to 3 points, so we left 4 points on the field. We got the field goal, but again, people say, "Well, we still were but we lost by a touchdown." Yes, we did, but
you don't know where the game's going to go.
That's exactly right. You don't know how it shifts the momentum, and the Bears were really balling at that point. They came out halftime. They had the ball first, and you just don't know what would have happened.
Right, it's a butterfly effect.
Absolutely.
The wings flapped. The wings of the butterfly flapped, and that went the direction that they went there. But had they got that touchdown there, now they're up by what They're up by
Well, it was
four.
It would have been,
They're up by 4.
Well, wasn't it?
Well, with the field goal, they went up 22-21. So they were at what,
Right.
18. So it would have been what, 25-21.
And sure, they would have needed a touchdown, but the defense, I think, it
Right.
jacks your defense up. They're like, "Oh man, we're winning!" So then,
But
they get
even if they would have,
energy,
even if they would have scored a touchdown like they did, let's just assume that they did score the touchdown. The Bears would have still only been down by 2, and the drive to get into field goal range would have been a lot different than they were in. Right.
So
And
it does open up a lot of things. You don't know what's going to happen. So because people are like, well, they still, no, you can't look at the overall score at the end. You can't, because a lot of things, of course, we didn't get the 2 points of conversion. I had no problem with going with that. Sometimes I'm not a points chaser, like the Monday night game cost, I think, the Vegas Raiders, because he went for 2 points. He could have tied the game and they would have gone to overtime. They lost the game because he went for 2 points with a couple minutes left.
Was that was Josh McDaniels that did that?
Mm-hmm. It was 29-30. Less than 2. Well, it was just about 2 minutes. They went down and scored. He went for the 2-point conversion instead of the tie, and then they lost because
I saw something. That head coach is a joke.
Well, I'm not a fan of his.
I saw something on Twitter about a player, or either a player or a former player, and he went on this Twitter storm. He kept replying to his own message. Just kept going on and on, because you can only put in so many words, per
Right.
tweet. It's just going on and on, like 15 tweets of all the different. Like, he's saying that McDaniels basically screams and yells at everyone for everything, and he calls them out, and he like makes them come up in front of the people in the meeting room and calls them out, and he's a total asshole to everyone, and he's just completely doing everything from the opposite perspective of a humanitarian.
Well, he was under Belichick, and if people don't know this, you can't take his word for it, because he's not on a handshake. He's not, because when he went to Indy, he was named the head coach on the handshake. It hadn't officially been signed, so they started, hiring people. He changed his mind and went back to New England. I don't like that. You said yes. You shook your hand. I'm not a fan of this guy, but he cost him. And did you see what what's his name? The wide receiver that used to be
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, did you see how he knocked that guy over?
No.
At the end of the game. So
yeah.
And he pushes the guy, and then the apology was a joke. It was like, yeah, I apologize for sort of knocking him over. What? So the guys filed a police report, which he should, because it shouldn't have happened. Hey, Dante, you ran into your other player. That was the last play of the game. 2 wide receivers ran into each other. It was hilarious. I thought, well, at least the Bears aren't doing that.
I know. It's always good to see other teams have the buffoonery, and you go, oh, thank God that wasn't the Bears.
And
it's like we always have the Browns, right?
Was the Packers lost.
Yes.
To the Giants, who we should have beaten.
Lynn, okay, so I'm in Florida. For people that haven't watched this, my mother-in-law passed away, and we assumed her home, so we're here kind of going through everything. We've been there for a week or so. We're going to be here for another week or so. And there is this amazing, they have all different really good food around here, and there is a Chicago food eatery here. Italian beef, Chicago-style hot dogs, or pizzas, amazing. Everything there is so good. They got TVs. They broadcast the game. So I went there thinking I was going to have my good luck Italian beef before the game against the Vikings on Sunday. And I'm sitting at the bar, and there's 2 Packer fans, older gentleman and his wife, and they're sitting there. They came in to catch the end of the game, and they were all excited that they got to catch the end of the game. And then Rodgers throws that pass that gets popped up into the air, and the game's over. And the older gentleman just stands up. He was just like one of us. He just like leaves the bar. He comes back,
Right.
it's actually a restaurant, but leaves the restaurant, comes back, 5-10 minutes later. I'm like, you're exactly like me. Like, I would have had to cool down from that too. Like, and I'm like, listen, don't feel so bad, man. We lost to him too.
That's right. That probably made him feel worse.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah. It's always fun when you can watch a Packer fan lose a game that they should have won. I love it.
It's the best. I did say that. I'm like, well, I said to my son, well, at least the Packers lost. That story reminds me. Years ago, I was at my sister's house, and we were watching a Bears game, and it was like they did something so stupid, and there was little kids there. So I was so mad. I left the room. I went into the bathroom, and I just swore up and down. And I come back out. And everybody's looking at me laughing. They're like, we could hear you. I'm like, oh, shoot. They're like, what? You meant well.
It's like you need to have a towel. You're like,
Exactly. I was so mad.
I've been there. I know what you mean.
Bears fans are all going, they're all remembering when they did that right now, listening to us. Yep. All done it.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the play that pissed me off the most in this game, and that's this one right here. I mean,
God.
Why didn't you run out of bounds?
And we needed them.
Why?
We had one timeout left, and we needed to preserve it, and that would have put us at the 32-yard line or something like that. I mean.
Yeah, let's look at that again. Where would that have gone?
I mean, I think it was.
That would have been.
Okay, he catches it.
30. If he would have ran out of bounds, he'd have been at like 35.
No, I was wrong. 30, yeah. But it would have been our first down.
Still, that was.
With the timeout, he would have gone out of bounds. Timeout, regroup, call a couple plays, bang, boom. We could be winning that game. No, it would have been tied, right? With the kick. But
what pisses me off the most about it is Justin Fields has another drive, another game-winning drive, robbed.
Yes.
Like the Steelers game last year, just robbed.
Yeah, he's been robbed. He's been robbed a few times on passes and that kind of stuff. And we don't know what could have happened if he caught that. If he
imagine if the Bears win that Steelers game last year, they would have been in position for the playoffs at the end of the year.
Right.
Albeit. And everyone would have been talking about that game.
Yes.
That comeback from Justin Fields, that would have given him the national notoriety that he needs.
Yeah, he does. Right.
If same thing with yesterday, not yesterday, but Sunday, if that drive is if we just don't have that ridiculous strip happen, if he just runs out of bounds and we can drive down the field somehow and tie the game up and let's say go into overtime with the momentum, or even better, go for the 2-point conversion and actually get it, unlike the Raiders, and win that game, what does that do for the Justin Fields stock?
2-point conversion, though.
No, he wouldn't have.
He would have, because he would like to have at least a tie going in, because that if we had tied it up, what a boost that would have been. And
right.
I think he would have thought his defense could hold him after that. So,
yeah.
But I know what you're saying, though. I agree with you, but it would have been. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he would have gone for it either, but if he did and got it, let's just say he did and got it,
or the genius right now. I mean,
or they go into overtime and then Justin Fields drives them down the field. They get the coin toss. Justin Fields drives them down the field for a touchdown. They win the game.
Right.
I mean, just get there.
Exactly.
And you could tell he was in that zone. He was throwing the ball. He was standing in the pocket. He was getting rid of the ball quick. It was coming out of his hand fast.
See, that's it right there, Dan, what you just said. He was getting the ball out of his hand quickly, something he has not done in the previous games. He's been hanging on, and that was a concern for people. Oh, God,
right.
He's going to be one of those quarterbacks, And
right.
But Sunday, you saw completely different where he was getting rid of them right away. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of that tomorrow. I hope so. If we can get the run game going and just, get him in that rhythm early. You got to do it early, not this second half shit, because you can't keep up on that, because I'm telling you, it's going to catch up with the Bears, especially when they're, you start going down with the rest of the schedule. We're going to start playing some really hard teams, and you can't. They're going to blow you out in the first half. You can't rely on the second half. So,
they need to come out of this game almost do all the warm-ups, the pregame warm-ups, all their like walkthroughs. Treat it like a 2-minute drill. Everything 2-minute drill. Everything 2-minute drill. If they have any kind of practice time in the before the game, work it like it's a 2-minute drill. Just try to work it quickly. Think quick, think quick, move quick,
get
move
them in
quick.
that rhythm, like
then you start the game. Boom! You're off and running.
Pick up where you left off, right? And that's what the Bears have got to do.
And just march the ball down the freaking field, get a touchdown, start the game off with a touchdown. We're at home. We're undefeated at home.
That's right. And we have the fans, and they're excited. And the other thing too is the defensive or our wide receivers. Another huge thing that and I don't know. My son said, "Do you think they practice that?" And I said, "Well, they should." Is you see it with good teams when your quarterback's in trouble and he starts to scramble. Your wide receivers have got to be aware of what's going on and come back to him and give him something to throw to. Don't just leave him out there and stand there. That's what they've been doing, and they've got to come back. So maybe they need to practice it. I don't know, but I'm hoping with K. I don't know how you say his name. K. Neal.
No, it's you have it wrong. It's the opposite. It's Nikhil.
Oh, that's what my son asked me. Is it Nikhil Harry? Okay, so
it's Nikhil like Nikhil Harry. So
if he is as good as we think he's supposed to be, it could really help this week.
Did we lose you? Oh, Lynn. Oh, there you are. You'll come back in a second, I'm sure.
What is going on? It's my stupid internet.
There you go.
So we'll see. So let's talk about
you cracked me up on your show when you called Amir Smith Marset. You call him. You're like, what's his name? Marsetti. I'm like, no, the guy's not Italian.
Well, I know that my viewers, especially my regular ones, are doing the same thing. Like, no, it's not that. And I know that they're screaming. I've said that before. I know you're telling me I'm saying it wrong, but I am my father's daughter. Okay. And here I'll give you an example real quick. My father had 4 children, 4 that went to a high school called Hershey. John Hershey, an author, not Hershey, the candy bar.
Right.
4 kids, and he always called it Hershey. They're kind of like the Archie Bunker. You know what I mean? I can't pronounce anything right. Well, we were just talking about. People don't know we were talking about All in the Family.
Right.
So if you watch my show, I never get a name. That's why I always use their numbers. Well, plus people look at numbers more than names. So if you say 32,
that's what makes your show so endearing. You're here to talk Bears. It's if you want to go and get all the freaking breakdown of every play and of the blah blah, have it all analyzed. You can find any one of those things on a number of channels.
Shows that do that.
But you just want to come on and talk about the Bears. It's just like, hey, you're just going off of the top of your head, and that's what I love about your show.
I type a few things up, the stats, so it's hard to remember all those, but the rest of it is I just kind of, and you can tell too, because I'm like, what was that guy's name again? And I'm like, oh well, who cares?
I was laughing this morning when you said that. You're like, wow, what's his name? And you're like, you're going like this. You're like, oh, Marsetti.
Whatever.
Hey, it's a Marsetti. My name is Amir Smith Marsetti.
Hang on to the Bama baller, man. Come on.
Oh boy.
We're cracking ourselves up. Oh man.
So there's one more play that I want to talk about before we move on to the Commanders game that was something that just really pissed me off in this game because I don't think there was enough talked about it. And it's this play right here. Mooney runs an absolutely perfect route and he gets up. The ball should have been in the air a fraction of a second earlier, but this is a pass interference.
100%.
So the ball should have been in the air now,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
now it got in the air.
Yeah.
But look, Harrison Smith doesn't turn around when he's
No.
he's deflecting his arm, so he's not going
That's
for the ball.
automatically a flag. Every game I
That-
watch, it's a fucking flag. Okay.
That is a pass interference.
Yes.
And you know, if this was the fucking Packers
Oh.
and we did that to them,
Oh.
that would have been a pass interference.
Exactly. And he would have caught the ball, but you're right. It should have been thrown a little bit earlier, as you see when he's coming down, and he should be having the ball right now. You know.
Yep, the ball right.
But that's okay. But
he should have been catching. He should have been catching that at the front of the end zone.
Yes, he should have. Exactly.
The
Exactly. And then, regardless, okay. So even if the guy does the pass interference, it's on the 1 yard line, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know, that's not a give me with the Bears. We know that, but still, I agree with you 100%. You know, and we talked about that. Yeah, I mentioned earlier that the commentators made a comment. They made a comment about this play too. The guys on the TV said, "Wasn't that pass interference?" They both said it, and I was like, "I thought it was," you know, but
right here.
It's just, I don't know. Some teams get the breaks and some don't. And, you know, I've had people write on my show in comments like, you know, they hate to say it, you know, that the refs are paid off and this and that. And I said, I don't want to talk about that because, you know, that would just ruin the game for me. But you wonder sometimes. I'm not kidding. But
that is the shot right there. That is the pass interference. His arm is already pushing into his arm, and he is not looking at the ball at all. He is looking at the defense.
Right there. There's the ref over there.
Yep.
I mean, he's had a perfect angle on it. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get it. And then the refs sometimes make calls that you're like, how did they, like where they can place the ball sometimes exactly where it is when there's 100 people on top of it. But yet they can't make this obvious call.
Have you, when I first started podcasting, one of the first things I was bitching about was the playoff game against the Eagles, where in the double doink game. In that game, it was in the first quarter, but it was a 3rd and 7, and the Eagles ran the ball, and Deion Bush hit him like a brick wall right before the first down. So if the first down was here, he was stopped here.
Okay.
Like a brick wall. He just hit him like a brick wall, and the guy went down.
Right, yeah.
And Nagy, I just said the word Nagy, so now I have to do this.
I'm not even going to get into that. I have zero thought.
Anytime
Sure, I don't say the N word.
He should have challenged that, because he stopped him. It was not the fact that they gave him the first down to begin with. The flag should have been called, the challenge flag. But then he didn't call it, and they put the ball down 2 yards. They gave him almost 3 extra yards when they placed the ball.
I don't remember, but I'm sure I was going ballistic. I'm sure it was.
In real time, I'm watching this happen, and I was blowing up, and I can't. Nobody talked about it at the time. I wish I had the clip pulled up here. I could pull it up for you.
What was that? 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was 2018.
Yeah, that's when we went 12-4. Right.
Yeah,
and we didn't have a kicker. You know,
right.
So.
And it was in the first quarter, so I'm sure nobody thought it. But if that was in the fourth quarter, I guarantee you it would have been a different situation.
It would have been. And Nagy.
I'm not even going to get into that. I have zero thought.
He would have challenged it. I will give him that, but he probably just is saving his challenges, you know. So, but the double doink, you know what? It reminds me of Chris Collinsworth, and I don't even want to go there. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Let's not go there. Can't either, man.
Oh man,
he's such a pompous, arrogant plebe.
He is, and you know why he doesn't like the Bears, right? Did I tell you this? In the 80s, you know, you probably know this, and people out there might not know, he was a wide receiver for Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bears beat the crap out of him back in the day. And I think he's still taking it out on the Bears. Hey, it's not the Bears' fault you sucked. I mean,
He probably still has an injury that's nagging him from that one of those matchups.
So every time he comes to Chicago, he's like, oh,
oh, this cold weather's got my knee all locked up again.
I'm telling you.
I hate the barometric pressure in Chicago. It just kills my bones.
I know, exactly. And that's why he loves the double doink.
Yeah, right. Oh, God. Oh, and it had to be that asshole that coined it too. Double doink.
I know. So now every time it happens, they always do it. Although I will say this, on the Monday night game, no, not Monday, Sunday night game, there was a doink. And Mike Tirico is now his partner because the other guy left. Al Michaels went to Amazon. Yeah. And he started to make a comment, Chris Collinsworth, and Mike Tirico shut him down. He said, we're not going to bring up the past, okay, Chris? And I was like, yeah, right on, Mike. I thought, good for you. He's probably tired of hearing it, too.
That was the Saints. Was it the Saints game?
On Sunday night?
Was that
this last Sunday?
What game was that? Yeah. Was it?
No, it was Rams and Baltimore, right?
No, it was it. I don't even know. So I don't even watch anything but the Bears. Excuse me for not knowing.
They played on Sunday night. It was the Rams.
I have to go. I would like to go watch that though, because I would love to see him get shut down by Mike Tirico.
I was like, I'm a big Mike Tirico fan, anyways. He used to do college football, and now he's doing Sunday night, and I like him a lot. He's a real fair commentator. He's not like.
Yeah, I like them on Monday Night Football. I hate how they keep jacking up Monday Night Football. You used to have the same crew for years, and you loved hearing their voices, and like even from Howard Cosell, obviously, down to by the way, have you seen that meme? It's Howard Cosell standing there with O.J. Simpson in a gold jacket, like a Hall of Fame jacket, and on his other side is Bruce Jenner. And the meme is him standing in the middle with O.J. Simpson and Bruce Jenner. He says, I just stepped into the future, folks, and you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you.
If not, I'm going to look that up. And is that hilarious? So it's true.
So funny. But from Cosell into the next Monday night crew, I loved Griffin and Michaels and Deerdorf.
Oh, yeah. Those guys were had fun, too,
Yeah.
Right.
Al Michaels is now there's Pat Summerall and John Madden John
Madden's the best, hands down.
Commentator. But there's no announcers like that anymore that you really like.
They don't have
that voice makes you want to it doesn't give you any nostalgia listening to the game. Like you hear Pat Summerall calling a game from the 80s, you're like,
I know. And Madden was so damn funny.
Madden, oh God.
He's the
Madden was hilarious.
Yeah, they don't have guys at all like that. No.
And then they keep rotating this Monday night crew around all the time, and it constantly changes.
I'm not really digging that too much, but a lot of times I'm not a big Joe Buck fan, so I'm like, oh God, now he's on Monday night. Great.
I know he's just he's too pull up the ass, right?
Well, he is. Well, me and my son used to make fun of him a couple of years ago because he's so short compared to Troy Aikman, so he's always looking up at him, right? And we always used to go, "Oh, he's gazing at Troy. He's in love with him." we used to have,
what do you think, Troy?
Yes, we'd have big conversations. Oh, Troy, I love you. Can I see your ring?
It's like Mystery Science Theater 3000. You ever seen that? Just turn off the volume and.
Right. Oh gosh. Okay, we got to get back to the game going.
All right. Well, so I think we're done talking about this.
Yeah, we want to talk about Washington, huh?
Yeah, let's move on to the Washington game. How are you feeling?
I am feeling pretty good. Well, of course, I said that last week too, but they're 1-4. Okay, we're 2-3, so we're not that much better, but we are at home. We do like to play better at home. Justin's did better. Like we said earlier, if they come out, pick up where they left off on Sunday, we've got a really good chance. Now, they can pass, but we can run. They cannot run, and we cannot pass. He's got almost 1,400 yards. He's got 1,390 yards so far, Carson Wentz. So the kid can throw. Well, the man can throw. But He's fumbled the ball 6 times this year, which is something the Bears, I'm sure, have been talking about. And he has thrown 4 interceptions. So
How many touchdowns?
he has got thrown. I do have it here. I know I do. Shucks. I think it was 10. Oh no, it was 6 touchdowns. He's done 10
Total?
TDs to 6 interceptions.
10 touchdowns passing?
Yes.
The 6 interceptions?
Yeah, and then the 6 fumbles. So he can turn the ball over. So here's the chance for the Bears. Now we know you've talked about the defensive line before. We're not that great. They don't have a running. Their running is 28th in the league. We're 5th. So big difference there. So kind of good because the Bears can't stop the run. So let's hope it's kind of even, although they're going to be trying to run on him, of course, but they're going to pass a lot because he can pass. So that's why it's so important that Jalen Johnson is back in number 33. Yeah. So they don't have 2 sides of the ball. Well, they're going to throw on him, but, Jalen's good, and so it's going to hurt. It's going to help us a little bit better. But the Bears have just got to come out and they've got to play air-free 60 minutes, not 30, 60 minutes of football. And if they win the threes, my threes, win the turnover battle, the time of possession, and the penalties, we could win this game. And
absolutely, we can win this game. I think we should win this game. We're at home. One thing that scares me is you saying, their running game hasn't been that good. That's usually when somebody comes into town and they're only averaging 38 yards a game rushing, and then they have 210 against the Bears.
That's why when I say it, I think about it back to my mind. You shouldn't have really said that, but but I say anything that I think, so that's my problem too. But yeah,
gotta knock on some wood.
Yeah. So it is a problem. So the defense obviously has to step up. They can't let them rush. And we got to get in Carson Wentz's face. Their offensive line gave up 20 sacks now. We've given up 18. So that means their offensive line is probably shitty as ours. So, and you were saying earlier, Leno was on that team that used to be on the Bears. No, not you. I'm sorry. Somebody else told me that. Charles Leno is on that team.
Charles Leno. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can have him. Okay. Yeah. That explains a lot. Doesn't it?
Charles Leno ended Fitzpatrick's career.
Yes.
He was a revolving door on a sack that ended his damn career.
Not good. So, it's like, so the Bears, we'll see. Again, Justin, it all really depends on how he comes out and how he feels. So
the stats that you're telling me so here's what I'm gathering by that. Their offensive line isn't good enough for them to run the ball. And it's also given up 20 sacks on the season. Mm-hmm. That means that they can't run the ball because their offensive line if your offensive line can't run the ball and you're giving up that many sacks, it means that you have a pretty shitty offensive line. So
yeah, that's the way I look at it. Right.
It sounds like he's getting all these passes on those rhythm plays where he has a clean pocket to throw from in rhythm. And
I think they roll him out a lot too, and then
cut him out of rhythm.
He's got a strong arm, Wentz. That's for sure. He's a big dude, and he can run too. So you got to watch him because he's pretty good at the run, and so
that's what got his knee blown out.
Yes, and he's been on my show. This is his 3rd team now. So after he won the Super Bowl, well, he didn't win the Super Bowl. That what's his name did. I couldn't think of his name today. The backup.
Nick Foles.
Thank you.
We were talking about this on the barroom the other night. I have a show that I broadcast live from the Barroom Network on Monday nights, and we were Dan, who's on the show with me, was talking about Carson Wentz and how he came up to him after they won the Super Bowl, and you can see him saying this on camera, next year this is mine.
Well,
Carson Wentz. So he's kind of a see you next Tuesday, if you will. He's not that.
Although he did win 12 games that season for him, and he got hurt in December. And then
he was having an MVP season that year. I was thinking, why can't the Bears get a quarterback like this? Then he blows out his knee, and he's never the same.
Right. And then Foles has his 15 minutes of fame, and then we sign him, and he sucks.
Right.
So which is typical for the Bears.
He has one good game. They come back against the Falcons.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, Philadelphia was just a very good team all the way around, like they are now. I mean, these guys they could be in the Super Bowl. I would not surprise me if it's Bills and 49 or Philadelphia and the Bills.
Philadelphia. That's
Yeah. And the Super Bowl
that's
this year. I could see that.
Philadelphia is surprising.
Yeah, they're very, and you know what? Jaden Hurts is the real deal. I wasn't sure about it, but he really, really is. He's playing really well.
He's another one of those guys. When I say draft a quarterback as much as you can, I mean, you're not going to do it every year just to draft. If you have 5 draft picks, you're not just going to draft a quarterback when you don't need one. But I'm of the proponent that take a quarterback as much as you can. Jalen Hurts is one of those guys I had on my radar. Dak Shepard is another one of those guys that I had on my radar. Like, oh, he's sitting there in the third. Why not pick him up? Oh, Jalen Hurts is sitting there in the second. Why not get him? He's sitting there in the third. Why not take a chance? And he had some rough roads in the beginning, and now everyone's...
Yes, he did. And people were like, he's not going to make it. But now what is he? He's the only undefeated team in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, what are they, 5-0?
Yep, 5-0. And when let me tell you the Bears' record on Thursday night, because we know they don't play well on Sunday and Mondays, but Thursday night's a little bit different. They played 53 times, and they have won 28, lost 23, and tied twice. So we do better, it seems like, on Thursday nights. So
we'll see. This is it's a new regime too. So, Lynn, I completely forgot that I had a little treat for you. So I want to do this little treat for you, and then when we come back, I want to go over the injury reports for these two teams.
Yep.
Oh, where did I put it?
I don't know.
Here we go. So it turns out that you have fans. You have fans overseas, Lynn. Check it out.
What?
It's as usual, Dan. It's been an absolute blast talking to you again, mate. And you're doing such a good job on the show, and also as well the other show you do with the lady. Is it Lynn? She's absolutely amazing. Her energy and her football knowledge and her energy, man, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So I sent her a message after your last show saying how to enjoy what she brings to the show, and but she's really, really, really good, really good. And
thank you.
Yeah, I keep thinking.
Thank you very much,
thinking,
Chris.
I always think, I wish my mum were a bit like that.
What Chris is talking about is this amazing woman that I found. Her name is Lynn Hayden, and she has her own Bears podcast called Let's Talk Chicago Bears on YouTube. And I thought this woman is awesome. And she's got just great personality, and she's got all these different facial expressions and stuff. So I had to reach out to her to see if she was interested in coming on the show. And it turns out she lives in the town. She lived in the town next to me the entire time that I lived, all 30 plus years that I lived there. And holy crap, that was weird. So she has a lot of fun. Make sure you check her out too. Her channel is pretty cool.
Yeah, I strongly recommend the show.
Thank you. I remember his comment, and I didn't know he was from overseas. How cool is that? I'm digging it. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. That's Chris Watts. He's on the Barroom Network on the Barfly Tailgate Show. We're in association with the Barroom Network. For anyone that doesn't know, we do a live show on their network on Monday nights, trying to kind of crossbreed and help each other's brands grow. And Chris he's just an awesome dude. I mean, that was last Monday. He was up till 3:00 in the morning doing that show with us. I mean, he's that committed. And so he's going to be doing another segment that we're working on called his name is Chris Watts. So we're working on a segment that we're going to do during the week called What's Up with Chris.
I like that. Like it.
And do a little breakdown of I'm fascinated with the overseas NFL love. And I had Chris on when I first started doing this podcast, and he said that the NFL basically became so big over there because of the 85 Bears. They were such an influence. They were kind of like the 90s Bulls that, took the world by storm, and you were seeing pictures of Michael Jordan in Hong Kong, and, they were like that in Europe, the Bears. And
Wow.
Chris is right around my age. I think he's a little bit older, and maybe a little bit. I think he's right around my age, 47-ish. And he fell in love with the Bears back in the 80s, and everyone did. Everyone did in Europe. And so then they started saying, hey, well, let's have the Bears come to play in Europe once in a while. And so the Bears came, and everyone flocked to the game to see the Bears play. And it just built from there in Europe. And it really started with this team. And that's what's so
and it's big now. Those
fascinating about the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, they had 2 games in a row. The last 2 Sundays they were over there. So, well, obviously that's where Green Bay lost. Yeah, so that's cool. I did not know that. That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very interesting talking with him. I love the conversation. He's such a good guy, and with his amazing accent. I love how like the puzzle. Accents. It's like the puzzle pieces just go floating into the air, and then they come into my ears, and then my brain has to put all the puzzle pieces back together, and I go, "Oh, I know what you just said."
Yeah, right, I know. I love their accents. Love it. So
me too.
I'm digging it. Cool.
So yeah, he saw the show that we did with you, and he absolutely loved it. And I just wanted to show you the compliment that he gave to you.
You're too sweet, Dan. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Blush.
All right, so let's pull up the injury report for this game. So it looks like, and you can't see because the logo's in the way. Let me remove the logo for a second. So Dane Cruikshank, questionable. N'Keal Harry, unspecified. Jalen Johnson, unspecified. I think that all 3 of these guys are going to end up playing this week.
I think so too.
Yeah. And boy, do we need Jalen Johnson back.
Big time. And yeah, because you see he practiced all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, full practice. So unless something happens tomorrow when he goes to warm up, I think he should be in there. And we talked about it earlier. It is huge. We need him out there again. It'll be a first game since the 49ers game. He hasn't played since then.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see what happens because, I mean, it is the Bears. We can't just assume having N'Keal Harry back in the game, he's going to have 120 yards. And
well, that would really help because he hasn't played yet. So
right. But to think he's just going to jump in and become the solution to a problem we have, I don't think that's going to.
I don't either. But
I thought Velus Jones would be that, and he hasn't done shit on offense.
No, he hasn't.
The touchdown last week, but
we just don't know, what Harry's going to do. But at least get him out there, start to get him his game reps, and then get him back into it. And next week we'll probably see more of them. We probably won't see a lot of them, but you never know what could happen. Again, you said it's the Bears.
And then the Commanders, they have Percy Butler, Sam Cosmi, Jahan Dotson, Logan Thomas, and Jonathan Williams all out. And Logan Thomas and Jahan Dotson, those are kind of notable. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about their offensive tackle, Sam Cosmi, but if he's a starter, which I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if he is, that would be nice.
That would be very nice. We'll take it. Definitely.
I'm sorry.
To help us,
I'm seeing Carson Wentz is on here, but
yeah, but
I don't know.
Limited, and then he practiced full today, so he's probably just, a little banged up,
So maybe you get that hit on him, right? On that right shoulder.
And you get in his face. He is for sure going to sling it, and he's going to throw an interception or 2 because as we know, I said he threw 6 so far this year, and he's fumbled it 6 times. So he's capable of losing that ball. So, and I'm sure the defensive coordinator for the Bears has mentioned that. So,
I'm sure.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him, baby.
And Jalen Johnson coming back, that is huge. Boy, have we missed him the last couple of games.
Most definitely. It's going to help the backfield so much because except for Eddie Jackson, they're all your rookies out there. You know what I mean? So,
right.
I really think it's going to help Gordon. It's going to help number 9. Can't think of his name. You know his name. The guy from Penn State.
Jaquan Brisker.
Number 9 is going to help him. It's going to help these guys, to have the full team back out there again, and especially Jalen Johnson because he's really good.
And Kyler Gordon has been getting extra work with Jalen Johnson being out, so that's only going to help the team. I mean, he's been getting people from game one up until now. I can't believe we've already played 5 games.
I know it.
It's just this is
sucks that it's going that
absurd
fast.
how quickly the NFL just
Uh,
gone,
I know it.
comes and goes like that.
I know.
Every year we say this, right? Like,
I
it's
know.
already week 8. What is
I
going
know.
on
We've
right
been
now?
waiting for this for months, you know.
And then it's gone.
Yep.
And then they're like, I need it again. I need it again. I need it again.
I know.
And then we all reset with the draft. Okay, we've got these players. We're going to win 5 more games this year. You know, it's
yeah. Oh God.
but Jalen Johnson coming back is definitely going to give a boost to this defense. Him being out has only done good for Kyler Gordon. He's got progressively better.
Definitely.
He blocked that field goal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He's been getting better each week. You see him, and you see him flying all over the field.
So athletic. The kid is so athletic.
Yes, I think that's a kid is just going to get better and better and better. I think he's going to be a good one out there too. So I mentioned it on my show today. I'm like, I like this kid, and he has gotten a lot of passes thrown at him. And yes, he's made mistakes, but he's a rookie. And so
I did a little video on him called "Is Kyler Gordon on the path to the Hall of Fame?" And the video that I did was, obviously he's a rookie, so it's ridiculous to assume that. But my statement was based on how he was raised. I watched a documentary about him and his family. Man, maybe it was the Bears documentary, the Meet the Rookies that they do. But his family pushed him into this kid had so much energy that a normal parent might have just put them on Ritalin, you know. But they took this energy and they put him in every single thing they could think of. They put him in, once something ended, they put him in something else. He was in karate, he was in basketball, baseball, football. Obviously, we know about ballet. He was in anything that you could take up his time with, in between and overlapping. And the kid is just a sponge. And the ballet has helped him with his balance and his muscle control. And he took dancing as well. He was he's an amazing dancer. So you see that athleticism on the field, and the kid was raised so well. He's got such good parents.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Yes.
That just tried to nourish that rather than ignore it or
exactly
try to put a Band-Aid over it or something. And they made the kid great. And I see that on the field, and I have no worries about him. I'm thinking by the end of the season, if he continues on the path that he's on, you could be talking in the conversation for Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm not kidding.
He keeps playing the way he's doing it. Yeah, definitely. And with Jalen Johnson back there, and then you got him and Eddie Jackson, the two.
Jaquan Brisker.
And Jaron Brisker, right? But these are seasoned, Eddie Jackson and JJ.
Right.
That's just going to help this kid more and more. And but I like him because he was close to a sack. If it wasn't this week or last week, but he was in there and he almost had a sack one game. And I was like, good for you, man. Those are the good old days when you see that, right?
Who are you talking about?
Gordon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He did.
Yeah, and I was like, right on, man. I love seeing that. That reminds me of the old Bears, you know, when you had, what's his name? Gary Fensick and all those guys, Doug Plank and all those guys, you know. So,
I mean, he had some real nice tackles in this game where he got him right around the legs and stopped him from getting another 20 yards. He blocks the field goal. He's getting better, man. The game is catching up to him, or he's catching up to the game, I should say.
Yes, and it's only going to get better and better. So that's awesome. So
maybe he gets an interception this week against Carson Wentz.
Would that be great? Let's predict it right now. Number 6. You heard it on this show.
Interception against Carson Wentz.
Yep. Let's do it.
We're calling
baby.
it right now.
All right. Hey, it'd be even better if he. Oh, what? Was it him in the game? Yeah, it was him in Sunday's game where he just missed the ball by this much, and it went to the receiver. He tried to. He read the quarterback's eyes. He read Cousins' eyes, but the ball was just out of his reach. Had he caught it, there wasn't anybody in front of him. He would have scored a touchdown. But so you can see he's getting it because he was reading his eyes, man. Had he been just a little taller, he might have had it.
I was saying this to my do you I should finish my sentence because I do that a lot. I was saying this to my wife. Do you ever get where you're watching the game, and I get this a lot, where I feel a turnover coming, and I'll be like, fumble, and then they fumble it.
Yep.
Like I can feel it coming. It's like on a kickoff return. Oh, he's gonna. Oh, there's a fumble coming. Fumble, and then they fumble it. Or there's an interception.
Oh yeah.
I started to get this feeling in this Vikings game. I'm like, Kirk Cousins just wants to give this ball up. I just know he wants to give this ball back to us. I was feeling that interception coming. And I said to my wife, I said, pick 6 by number 6. That would be amazing, because that was a time in the game where he was like really starting to make a difference. And he was you could tell he was kind of getting in his zone, and he was playing really well. And I thought, he's going to give it right up. Kyler Gordon, pick 6 for a touchdown. I felt that coming. Unfortunately, I was right. Fortunately, I was right about the interception, but unfortunately, I was wrong about the pick 6.
Right, exactly, right. Well, we thought he was going to have it, but it would have been great. But no, he's going to get him. It's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll get him.
I'm gonna rely on my intuition and see if I can conjure that up again in this next game.
What I do too is with turnovers, is silly as shit, but us Bears fans, I'll say to my son, we got to think turnover. Now pick number 9. We're going to say number 9 is going to, let's envision them in our mind. And we do that. I kid you not.
If you visualize it, right? Even though that's the one thing I loved about Velus Jones, is he says, I love to visualize things and like see it. He claimed that, or he said before the game, that he was visualizing that his first reception in the NFL would be for a touchdown.
Really?
And it turns out that was a reception, even though it looked like a handoff. It was like they were considered a shovel pass.
Right.
It was a pass. It was his first reception, and he got a touchdown on it. That's what I love about Velus Jones. I think everyone needs to kind of sit and visualize things, and no matter what it is in life, just foreshadow it and envision it, and like think about it, and think about the ways to get there and how you get from here to there, and manifest the different ways to get there in your mind. And I think anything is possible for anyone. And if Kyler Gordon does that, if Velus Jones is doing that, I mean, the sky's the limit for kids like that. I mean,
definitely. We're going to, and that's the beauty of these rookies, we're seeing them develop, and that's what's cool. As long as they're developing, and keep developing, and these coaches nurture them the right way and teach them, we're going to have a good team. We really, really are. It's going to be rough getting there, but we will. We just got to put all the pieces together. There's missing pieces that aren't there this year, but we're going to go get them in the off season, and then we're going to plug them in to a team.
Plus, we have to allow for the time that it takes a team to learn a new offense.
Yeah.
I mean, this defense is easier to learn for the players coming from that 3-4 into this 4-3. But when you had to learn this entire offense under the other guy, I won't say his name again. I'll have to pull up the meme or whatever you want to call it. If they can just develop as they're going, the offense is not going to just come to you day one. So it's going to take a little while to get into that groove. They can just continue on this path, and their offense starts to click, and they can just win a game here or there like they shouldn't, like the Niners game that they shouldn't have won. I think they should have won the Giants game.
Yep.
I mean,
for sure.
We could easily be 3-2 right now. But if eventually the amount of reps that you have in this offense, by the time you're into game 7, 8, 9, things are going to start to click, and they're going to get better. Definitely. Everybody had this team as the bottom feeder with the first pick.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not the case. That's not going to happen.
No,
we're already
for sure.
Yeah. So by the end of the season, we could end up picking up some more wins that maybe we shouldn't have won. Because our offense is starting to actually progress.
Yeah,
They're starting to.
That would be huge, and that gives you that what's going to help you for next year if you can start to do that, because we have some tough games at the end of the season, so it'll be interesting to see how they play, because we could be a factor because we play Green Bay and Minnesota in December, and our last game is Minnesota, so you never know, we could be in a factor in what they're doing, if they're going playoffs or not. So we'll see what happens, because we have the only bad thing is we have a very late bye, and which sucks. I don't like the bye. It's not gonna help us either way this year. It would if we were a good team and you were resting up. You're a really good team and you wanted that break before the playoffs start, but it's not gonna help us this year.
Yeah. I mean, unless we can pick up some wins and we can be in the playoff hunt at that time.
I don't see that happening, and that means we'll probably have an early bye next year, but we'll see.
Yeah, they'll give it to the bye in the 4th week. It's like, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you give us the easy schedule this year with the late bye, and then next year you give us the shitty schedule with an early bye. That's what's going to happen. That's what happens to the Bears like every year. Last year they played away, home, away, home, away, home. That was the worst season that you could ever. I don't think any team has ever had that. Did we lose you? Are you coming back? Well, at least we lost you on a smile. But yeah, I mean, she'll come back in a second. Last year, that schedule was terrible. Away, home, away, home, away, home, away, home. How could anybody? And the fact that they even won that many games with that coaching staff, that says it all right there. So, Lynn, I think we lost you. Yep, looks like we lost her. If she hops back in, she can rejoin the stream. I guess I'm on my own right now. I'm sure she'll hop back in a second. We'll give her a minute here. So, what do you guys think about this Commanders game? I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Leave your predictions for the score in the comments at the end of the game. I know by the time this gets released, the game is tomorrow. So you'll have enough time to put your comments put your score, your game prediction in the comments. I don't think she's coming back. It looks like I lost her for good. Well, I guess that's a wrap for this show. Episode number 3, The Lowdown with Lynn Hayden. I'm sorry that we lost her. We were about to wrap this up anyway, so we appreciate you all out there, all of our supporters of Bears Country Podcast. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. And for our new viewers, if you do like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe. And also, Lynn Hayden has her own YouTube channel called Let's Talk Chicago Bears. So make sure to check that out and like and subscribe to that as well, because she is an absolute hoot. And I love her. And I can't wait to do next week's show with her. Hopefully we don't lose her with the internet connection. But until then, let's get this win tomorrow, everyone. I'll give you my score prediction. I have 28-13 Bears, and I would love to know what you guys think. Leave your score predictions in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, Bears!